Okay. I have a friend who really hates English class. He finds it completely irrelevant. He thinks that it's disgusting to try to study something when we don't really matter that much. Yes, he thinks that we shouldn't try and study the words of a man from 2,000 years ago just because we don't matter in the grand scheme of things. And he has a point. On this massive cosmic timeline, we are nothing but a tiny white dot within a big red circle. And that's scary. So it's easy to feel irrelevant when we're studying science, especially astrophysics and particle physics, because the scales are so warped. How can we possibly relate to something that is so massive or so small when we're simply stuck in the in-between? It's easy to feel disconnected, like we don't matter. It's easy to feel like we are just noise in the machine. And this causes conflict between the humanities and sciences. Sciences are condescending and say that the humanities hold on to something that doesn't really matter that much. The humanities call the scientists apathetic and nihilistic. But let me raise this point to you. There's a famous experiment known as the double-slit experiment, in which scientists sent a beam of electrons, one by one, through two slits in a wall, and then viewed the pattern on the other side. Now, electrons are just tiny pieces of matter. If you threw a tiny piece of matter through two holes, you would assume that it would go through one and land on the wall directly opposite, looking something like that. But that's not exactly what happened. Instead, it looks something like this. This is only a thing that can happen when two waves interfere with each other. But as you notice in this diagram, you need two waves in order to interfere with each other. So how on earth could one electron possibly do that? Well, it turns out that when the electron goes through, it goes through one and the other, and both and neither, all at the same time. Something called superposition. Now, if this doesn't wow you as much as it does to me, well, when experimenters tried to actually observe the electron going through all of these possibilities at once and then canceling themselves out, it disappeared. And we went back to this particle pattern that was observed from before. A similar experiment was done with Schrodinger's famous cat. It's a thought experiment in which you put a cat in a sealed box with something that has a 50% chance of killing it and a 50% chance of letting it live. Right before you open the box, the cat is both dead and alive at the same time. What forces it to decide to live or die is you opening the box. The point is, we are a variable in both of these experiments. We change the outcome in some sort of way. We are a variable in this vast and expansive universe that we're just trying to observe. We're small, but we are inextricably intertwined with everything around us because we are a member in the set of the universe. So by extension, if we change, so must the universe. Because if the sun exploded in a blaze of glory, well, then the universe wouldn't be the same as it was a moment ago, because a moment ago, we had a solar system. And if Trump decided to nuke Wisconsin, well, then the universe wouldn't be the same as it was a moment ago, because a moment ago, we had Wisconsin. And if a leaf falls off a tree, then the universe wouldn't be the same as it was a moment ago, because a moment ago, the leaf was connected to the tree. And if any person here disappeared, completely vanished from existence, the universe wouldn't be the same as it was a moment ago, because a moment ago we had one more soul trying to answer the questions that plague our consciousness. So I hate when people say that we don't matter, because we're not superior to anything else around us, but that doesn't necessarily make us inferior. The humanities and sciences don't need to be as divided as we make it seem, because we all want the same thing. We just have different ways of getting to it. We can acknowledge our own boundlessness, while also acknowledging the universe's boundlessness. Because we are our own little infinity within a larger infinity, but that doesn't necessarily stop us from being infinite. Humanity has a part to play in this grand concerto. It is small, and yet it is, just as much as the greatest supernova and the smallest quark. So maybe we are just noise in the machine, but that doesn't mean that we don't matter. Our beautiful melody connects us with every other tune in such a way that without us, the symphony just wouldn't be the same. Thank you.